Let me say something that sounds wrong in Warhammer 40k. A Space Marine could refuse to eat meat, not for compassion, not for ethics, not because he cares about animals, but because restraint in the Imperium is power. And depending on the Legion, that idea ranges from impossible to disturbingly logical. Warhammer 30,000 is not a setting built for restraint. It is defined by excess, excessive violence, excessive conquest, excessive consumption. Space Marines are not philosophers. They are weapons engineered to kill, endure, and obey. So when people hear vegan Space Marine, the reaction is immediate disbelief. And that reaction is correct, unless we are very precise about what we mean. This is not modern veganism. There are no animal rights movements in the Great Crusade, no moral campaigns, no compassion preaching. What we're talking about is self-imposed restraint, ritual abstinence, symbolic refusal, the deliberate denial of indulgence in service of discipline, ideology, or control. And once you frame it that way, the question changes. Because restraint is not alien to the legions, it's just not valued equally. Some legions simply cannot produce this mindset at all. The World Eaters are the clearest example. Their identity is built on unrestrained violence, eating flesh, spilling blood, surrendering to the rage. These aren't habits, they are proof of loyalty. Refusing meat wouldn't be seen as a discipline, it would be seen as weakness. And weakness in Angron's Legion is corrected with violence. The Night Lords are marginally different. They don't care about indulgence, they don't care about restraint. Consumption is simply another tool of terror. If eating flesh horrifies their victim, they'll do it. If abstaining does, they might do that instead. In fact, the most Night Lords' response isn't choosing one diet over another, it's forced consumption. An anti-vegan being restrained and force-fed vegetables and fruit, a vegan being forced to consume meat and dairy, not because either choice matters, but because violation does. There is no internal meaning, fear is the point. Other legions fail for more cultural reasons. The Emperor's children, even before their fall, pursued perfection through sensation. Abstinence was never a virtue, it was a pause, a way to sharpen indulgence later. A fleshless diet here wouldn't signal control, it would signal an aesthetic phase. The Space Wolves collapse the idea even faster. Their culture is inseparable from hunting, feasting, and shared meals. Refusing meat isn't a personal choice, it's a rejection of the pack. You don't do philosophy at a table on Fenris. The Lunar Wolves take a colder approach. Food is fuel. If Horus doesn't care, neither does the Legion. There's no ideological structure that elevates abstinence into meaning, it's just calories. Then we reach the legions where restraint is possible, but empty. The Iron Warriors don't indulge, but they don't spiritualize denial either. The body is a tool to be used until it breaks. A Marine might refuse meat for efficiency, control, or sheer spite. But there's no symbolism, just attrition. The white scars open the door slightly wider. The culture allows personal paths, rituals, and philosophy. A Marine could abstain from meat as a private discipline, but it would remain personal. Freedom comes first, doctrine comes last. The Dark Angels formalized restraint through vows. Their entire culture revolves around oaths, penance, and secrecy. A Marine swearing to refuse flesh until a duty is fulfilled fits perfectly. Not compassion, obligation. With the Imperial Fist, restraint stops being symbolic and becomes expected. Dorn's Legion already practices denial, endurance, and voluntarily suffering. A fleshless diet would simply be another method of asserting control over oneself. The Death Guard reach a similar place through deprivation. They despise excess, are accustomed to scarcity. Refusing meat becomes a rejection of comfort rather than a moral stance. Grim, functional. The Iron Hands push the idea into something colder. Flesh itself is weakness. Biology is a flaw. Refusing animal flesh isn't compassion. It's contempt, a rejection of organic dependency. Disturbing, but coherent. From here, restraint becomes systemic. The ultramarines would never ask if abstinence feels right. They would ask if it works. If a codex-approved nutritional doctrine proved more efficient, scalable, and sustainable, they would adopt it immediately. Not belief, process. The word bearers take restraint into ritual. Abstinence becomes devotion. Diet becomes worship. A marine refusing flesh because it is impure or dishonoring to the divine makes complete sense within their worldview. Dangerous, but internally consistent. The Alpha Legion doesn't even require belief. They would adopt abstinence if it aided infiltration, destabilization, or psychological warfare. The meaning is external. You're not meant to understand it, and that is intentional. The Thousand Sons elevate restraint into philosophy. They already view the physical body as a limitation. Rejecting flesh consumption becomes a way to distance the mind from base reality in pursuit of knowledge and control. The Blood Angels turn restraint into tragedy. Their constant struggle against hunger and rage gives abstinence a genuine symbolic weight. Refusing meat becomes a daily assertion of control over the red thirst, not kindness, mastery. The Salamanders come closest to something resembling ethical restraint. Their focus on protecting humanity and limiting unnecessary suffering makes abstinence feel natural. Still not modern veganism, but close. And at the top sits the Raven Guard. Corvus Corex's legion is defined by precision, self-effacement, and the avoidance of unnecessary harm. They do not seek excess, spectacle, or domination. A Raven Guard Marine refusing animal flesh as a rejection of needless consumption fits seamlessly into their ideology. Quiet, personal, ideological, without preaching. If any legion could produce a truly vegan-adjacent Space Marine without breaking the internal logic of Warhammer lore, it's the Raven Guard. But here's the real question. Is restraint in Warhammer a form of moral progress, or just another weapon? And which legion do you think are placed too high, or too low? Let me know. And if you enjoyed this thought experiment, like, subscribe, or report me to the Inquisition. See you next time.